What's going on, everybody, and welcome back. Today we are breaking down what has to be one of my absolute favorite Titan builds that I've played since Consecration Knockout was reigning the meta. This has just insane ability uptime, fantastic super regen, and can carry you through any type of content. So today we're going to break down our subclass, our loadout, our fragments and aspects, as well as the armor and artifact mods, then take this into some -40 content to see how well it can actually perform. To start this off, breaking down our prismatic subclass, we are running with Glacial Quake for the super. This doesn't matter if you want to run something different for your super, by all means go ahead. I chose Glacial Quake specifically for the shatter damage, and Glacial Quake does deal the most damage in general. Now for the melee, you are wanting to go with Thunderclap because this pairs beautifully with our exotic of choice, the Insurmountable Skull Fort. This is going to give you 100% ability uptime for your melee. It's because Final Blows with Arc Melee, one, will trigger health regen, aiding in knockout as well, but it's also going to fully restore your melee charge. Melee hits grant Arc Melee energy, so even if you miss or don't get the defeat, you will still get melee energy refunded, making it so your melee, your Thunderclap, is going to be up very, very often, if not non-stop. Now for the grenade, again, dealer's choice on this one. We're going with Glacial Grenade, frankly for the Darkness Transcendence, plus I like to shatter it with all the crystals, blowing things up, whether I punch it, shoot it, whatever it may be. Now for the aspects, we're going with Diamond Lance on this one. This has the ability to do a couple things for us. One, we can slam it onto the ground, giving ourselves frost armor for damage reduction, as well as freeze enemies within a certain radius, or we can throw it like a spear, also freezing enemies from further away. Then we're going with Knockout because we're going to be punching nonstop. We might as well have Knockout proc, give us amplified for further damage reduction, as well as heal us on those melee hits. For the fragments, we're opting to go with Facet of Protection for further DR, then Facet of Dawn to give us 100% uptime on a Radiant when we get powered melee hits. It's easy. You don't necessarily need this. You can easily get Radiant from solar weapons, but since we're going to be using Thunderclap nonstop, we might as well take advantage of 100% Radiant uptime. Then we're going to be using Facet of Purpose, so every time we pick up an Orb of Power, it grants us Frost Armor. Then there's Facet of Courage, so our Arc, Solar, and Void abilities will deal increased damage to targets afflicted with a Darkness debuff. That's going to be our Freeze coming from our Diamond Lance, as well as our Glacial Grenade. Next up is Facet of Ruin. This one for me is a must when I'm running Prismatic with Glacial, because the size and damage burst of our shattering when those crystals blow up is increased, as well as our solar ignitions. We're going to take advantage of that too through our loadout, and I'll show you in a second what I mean. The freeze is going to stun Overload champions, the ignitions are going to stun Unstoppable champions, and then we're going to toss on Mint Retrograde for the ability to stun barrier champions, plus Mint is just the absolute best, especially running on Prismatic with Elemental Honing, giving us a very good damage output. Now for the primary weapon or a special weapon, as this slot, whatever you guys want to call it, doesn't really matter what you want to run. Run something that you enjoy using. That's pretty good with ad clear. I'm going with the Yeartide Apex. Again, auto rifles, SMGs are my preferred favorite primary, but you could easily use a sidearm, a hand cannon, whatever floats your boat on that one. Now, since we're taking advantage of Facet of Ruin, we are opting to go with Dragon's Breath to, one, deal a ton of damage from the Dragon's Breath rocket launcher, plus the ability to ignite a ton of stuff, which is going to be increased from our Facet of Ruin. And this will stun Unstoppables, but don't be like me. Don't run up to a target you shot with Dragon's Breath, because it will kill you. Now for the fragments, sorry, not fragments, the artifact mods that are really going to help aid in this build. Number one is going to be Shield Crush. We're going to have Frost Armor up fairly often, which will give us an increased melee recharge, as well as increase our melee damage. And since we're also going to have Amplified and Radiant up nonstop, it's going to increase the recharge of our grenade, as well as the damage from it too. Plus, Radiant Shrapnel is going to create those little solar buddies once we defeat or shoot targets that are scorched from our Radiant. Then Cauterize Darkness. Stasis or Strand debuffed non-boss enemies, those being our frozen enemies, will take increased damage from solar sources, meaning that's why we're using a solar primary, and that's why we're using Dragon's Breath as well. You also want to toss on Elemental Daze in any champion heavy activity, so when you stun a champion, an elemental weapon, it's going to create that elementally aligned explosion, just further damaging nearby targets. It's not necessary on this, but it's there. Why not take advantage of it? Then we're really building into kind of the rest of the elemental stuff with Elemental Coalescence. So when we defeat a target, it has a chance to create an elemental pickup that matches our super, that being a stasis shard. Again, Fever and Chill is a really good one here, so rapid precision hits with solar weapons make us radiant. We don't need it, it's just further uptime on a radiant in case we miss a melee. We have another way to proc radiant. Now there's Frost Renewal. So while we have Frost Armor, taking critical damage will release a freezing burst, basically, hopefully freezing combatants. I really don't see this proccing a ton of the time if you play this build well, but it's there when you need it. Then of course, Flame Fiber and Freeze, so it's going to combine Solar and Stasis or Solar and Strand Siphon mods into one. And then Diviner's Discount if you want to run Scavenger mods. It's always nice to reduce those costs. Then of course, Anti-Barrier Pulse and Overload at Rapid Fire. We don't need Unstoppable because we get that from our Dragon's Breath. And then Pulse Rifles, Mint Retrograde will take care of barriers, and our SMG will take care of overloads as well as our freezing capabilities. Now, before we talk about just the armor specific mods that we're using, I just wanted to focus getting as much melee as I possibly could. I managed to get this up to 154 with a little bit over 126 within our super, so it's a pretty good split in terms of damage and ability uptime. But this gives us a plus 16% damage in PvE with our melee. I believe the max is 20. I don't think that's necessary to go all the way up to 200. This 16% increase does feel really nice. Now for the rest of the mods that we're going with, tossing on hands-on so we get bonus super energy on melee kills, then that Solar and Strand dual siphon to create rapid or orbs with our primary as well as our Mint Retrograde. Then we're tossing on 2 heavy-handed for the gauntlets to reduce the ability cooldown for orb generation off melee kills, and then a grenade font. You don't need this. My grenade's 60, it's pretty low. So I wanted to just have plus 20 every time I picked up an orb to give myself a normal feeling of grenade uptime. Now, chest piece, always going with resistance mods that match whatever activity that we're going to be doing. For the legs, I've been loving running a primary surge mod, whether I'm doing solar, stasis, whatever it may be. Running a surge mod that matches our primary weapon just makes it feel a little bit better in in-game content to put out some extra damage. Then Better Already, so we get health regen when we pick up an orb. Then Absolution to get all ability energy every time we pick up an orb of power. Lastly, for the class item, Reaper, Powerful Attractions, a wonderful combination. Pop your barricade, you get a weapon defeat, creates an orb of power, and when you cast that barricade, any orb within 12 meters will automatically be picked up. Then lastly is Bomber, so it's going to reduce the grenade cooldown when we use our class ability. If you don't want to run one of these, I'd probably toss on Restorative or a Special Ammo Finisher just for high uptime on that. But I think with this build, Insurmountable Skullfort with Thunderclap, plus a high melee stat, you're going to be punching your way through any content you play. So now let's take this into some -40 content and see how well this actually does. All right, so we're taking this into -42, I guess. That's fine, that's where we're at. We want it to be at. That way it gives us a pretty good indicator of how this build will perform in most activities that we go do. Obviously, if you go into Mythic and you're playing with a fire team, this build still will hold up really well. If you're trying to go into solo Mythic, I just join our Discord, link down below, find some teammates, go into Mythic and do those missions together, because frankly, those are not the most fun to do by yourself. And that's a shameless self-plug for our Discord, so see you guys there. Okay. Basically, how we're going to play this entire build is punch stuff. Titans are very, very good when it was Concentration Knockout, which is still a relatively good build, but frankly, being able to punch everything, create a Diamond Lance, and immediately freeze, and punch, and freeze, and Diamond Lance, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I haven't had this much fun on Titan at all this entire expansion. And just Diamond Lance after Diamond Lance. But we have a barrier up here, so I want to see how much damage we can actually do. I'm going to try to freeze him first. This is a -40 barrier, and that almost takes him out. So that's not bad. And we didn't get the kill, so it didn't give us our full melee return, but it gave it through about 3/4 of the way there. And we have it back already. That took out that knight, no problem. Luckily, it's combatants defeated for this bonus activity or objective, because I hate when I try to do non-weapon focused builds and it's like, no, you got to get weapon defeats to get that bonus. Perfect. And I didn't even realize we already have our super. So you're going to have your super fairly often with this build too. Like if you focus into high melee and high super, if you can, that for me is pretty ideal with this build. Your rest of your stuff is going to come back pretty often. You don't really need to use your barricade a ton. I'm mainly using it just to have the ability to proc Reaper when I want to. But we're creating so many orbs of power and getting so much from our just ashes to assets or that hands-on mod. I probably spoke too soon on that. So we don't need our super here. We're just going to do this so we can get it back and see how quick we actually do get it back. And it's just a lot of fun to shatter everything, so. Okay, let's go see where this wizard's at. We got the other kill, so I'll take that. There we go. Now we can freeze a bunch of guys over here. And remember, because we're freezing them, it's going to give us more damage from our melee as well. Okay, we got the bonus objective out of the way. Proc frost armor from that. Also, when you're in your thunderclap, you do get about an 80% damage reduction, which is really nice in terms of the survivability aspect, because if you're near death or close to death and you have your thunderclap up, you can easily proc knockout from getting the kill. Plus, you can get your damage reduction from having thunderclap active anyways. Right there, just to show it to you. Get ourselves weak a little bit. I hate these Banes. Thank you. Why would there be a Wizard Bane? Also, if you're running newer weapons, don't forget to have on Temporal Blast, just for the extra damage from that. Get knockout proc, get our health back. There we go. And punch. Easy. That should have froze him. I don't know why that didn't. All right, we got a knight over there. Just throw that at him. All right, we have one more crystal. We already have our super back. I honestly didn't even realize again that we had that back. So kill this guy. I guess I'll use it again because I don't want to die. I didn't realize that was a really yellow barred wizard, but I should have. All right. Let this run out for a second so we can get those kills to come back and give us super energy. Also, the cool thing about crystals is you hide behind them. If you ever get scared, I love running the Glacial Grenade in PvE as like a movement tool also, because you can just throw it and use it kind of as a shield. They're a lot tankier when you're actually shooting them versus when I'm just punching them. All right, so now let's go in here. We should get our super back by the time we get to the boss room. And then hopefully we can beat the damage gate from the boss and get him to die a little bit quicker than normal. I haven't figured out the exact method to get past his damage gate and keep doing damage. It seems somewhat inconsistent, but maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't really know. If you guys know the way, let me know down in the comments. Okay, I shouldn't have chose shield banes. Okay. Dude, I should have popped Prismatic right there and not got stuck by that stupid wizard. Frankly, this is just me wanting to be super aggro and not pay attention to what I'm actually doing sometimes. And that shielded Bane can leave me alone. Okay, I completely missed that. quality content. But we got our super back, so I'm not too upset about it. Freeze all these guys. Punch to death. Punch. Also, it gives you a really high uptime on Prismatic as well. Yeah, let's toss our Dragon's Breath right there. See if we can get past this damage gate real quick. Nope, missed it. Hello. Okay. I wonder if we should be able to get a second super going into at least the last phase. That's the goal at least. Let's grab that Diamond Lance. Another one right there. So there's half our super back. And just let's see how much Dragon's Breath can do with this. Meanwhile, we'll go shoot other ads because we have our Dragon's Breath ignitions, which will constantly reload itself, which is really, really nice. If you guys don't have the catalyst for Dragon's Breath, highly go get it. Highly, highly recommend. And I think with this build, we're only able to get up to Elemental Honing times 4 because we don't have Void. But here's going to be our super back in just a second. Right there. And free Frost Armor for DR is always really nice. All right, let's see how much one melee can do with this. Toss on Prismatic just for better DR going into this. Meh, that's not terrible. I just threw that grenade into the wall. Not my intention, but hey. The Shatter is just too much fun to watch, and he's going to be cooked. Perfect. What? Where's this Acolyte coming from? Okay. So, frankly, how'd I spawn with a Diamond Lance? Couldn't tell you. It's part of the build. There's this extremely fun melee build that you can run in any type of content, have constant uptime on your abilities, punch everything to death, always be amplified and radiant, plus get your super back incredibly fast. If you guys enjoyed this build, feel free to let me know. Leave a like and a comment down below if you're going to check this out or if you've already tried it. But if you guys have a build you want me to check out, I would love to see it. Go to the Can You Craft section in our Discord and leave me a dim link for me to check out. That probably didn't come out exactly like I wanted it to come out, but that's okay. We're here to have fun and punch stuff. So if you enjoyed it, let me know. But as always, thank you guys so much for coming and watching. I'll catch you in the next one.